talk about the article which was written by Peter Klein of Rutgers University, an article published in 1999 called "The Human Knowledge and the Infinite Regressive Reasons." I have something written on the board here, so if you can't see that, I apologize. I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to make it so you can see it, but hopefully it's not too bad. Okay. What this is basically the theory of the epistemological theory of infinitism, which is not as well held as coherentism and foundationalism. Those two are theories that have been held for so long and by many different people and thinkers. Basically, what I should have wrote on here was something called the epistemic regress problem. The regress. This has the infinite regressive reasons. This is about the regress problem. What that is that basically every belief that we have needs a reason for it to be justified, and that's basically what Klein holds here, is that every belief needs a reason in order for it to be justified. And he also is a internalist. He has talks about some objection to Pa here, which I'll explain here, which is the externalist theory of reliabilism, which he argues against. So what infinitism is? It's the central thesis is that the structure of justificatory reasons is infinite and non-repeating, thus non-repeating. My primary reason for recommending infinitism is that it can provide an acceptable account of rational beliefs, and that's what he does here. So first of all, these two main concepts or main principles here, which hopefully, if you can't see this, I really apologize. First we have PAC, which is the principle of avoiding circularity. Thus you can obviously know what this principle is against. It's against theories of coherentism, because in theories of coherentism we have this is the overall main structure. The circle, because that's what coherentism is, or that's what the main idea of coherentism is. It's a coherent system of beliefs. Okay, it's we have no basic beliefs like with foundationalism. We have no foundational beliefs which are basic and are freestanding and don't need reasons. But there's no foundation. There's no foundation. Thus, it's a coherent system that the way that they are situated within the system is the way that all the beliefs are themselves justified. So, the principle against circularity by Klein is for all x, if a person S has a justification for x, then for all y, if y is in the evidential ancestry of x for S, then x is not in the evidential ancestry of for y. So this is just that if x has basically we can't. Let's see, let me try to do this. It's going against this whole thing. You can't have this. If x is in the evidential ancestry of the justification for y, then y cannot be in the evidential ancestry for the justification for x. So it's against the circularity thing. And basically, he's giving these two principles in order to have an accessible account for rational beliefs, and that for good human adult knowledge, every belief needs a reason. So it's against this, and this is, he said, this is very easily, we can easily hold this. This is pretty pretty well understand why we can't have this kind of circular formulation as circularity is actually a fallacy that is often held as fallacy, but by the coherentists it's not as much. Then we have Pa, which is the principle of avoiding arbitrariness. Arbitrariness, thus we have like the idea of a basic belief. A basic belief being at the bottom, thus the foundation. If it's a belief, then it has to assert something, correct? It has to assert something or say something or have some kind of content. But if it's a foundational belief, how can it? And it must be arbitrary. For all x, if a person x has a justification for x, then there is some reason R1 available for x, to x for s, and there is some reason R2 available to s for R1, etc. Thus, every single belief that everyone ever has needs a reason. Thus, we can't have these, and we can't have basic beliefs, and every belief needs a reason. So the thing he's after is just basically this, and on to infinity. I'm going to explain why he thinks this is okay, and this doesn't mean that we have to have knowledge of infinite reasons. We can't have. I'm going to get to the finite mind objection to infinitism. So that's basically what this is that we have on infinite regressive reason. There is always a reason available for every belief that we maintain. So then we have these terms of subjective and objective availability. Pa requires that the reason for a belief must be available to us. Availability is the key notion in my account of infinitism. It has the potential for anchoring justification, as understood by the infinitist. So, what makes objective availability of a reason for a certain belief? He has a good few things which I'm going to read here. R has some sufficiently high probability, and the conditional probability of P given R is sufficiently high, or 2, an impartial informed observer would accept R as a reason for P, or 3, R would be accepted in the long run by an appropriately defined set of people. 4, R is evident for S, and R makes P evident for S. 5, R accords with S's deep epistemic commitments, and 6, R meets the appropriate conversational presuppositions, and 7, an intellectually virtuous person would advance R as a reason for P. So, objective of availability, meaning in some way it accords with other people and people who are epistemically not violating their epistemic duties in a way. So those are the 7 things which I didn't want to write here. So let's move on to the objections. He has these are the 3 objections to Pa, because Pa is not entirely, we could possibly not agree with this, because there are people like externalists and other people who don't think that every belief needs a reason. So first we have the reliabilism. Excuse me. What is reliabilism? That is a theory in externalism, which is basically that beliefs don't need reason, and that we have justification, and we don't have to have cognitive access or have any of this, or any kind of reasons for our beliefs at all, but we have justification and knowledge via process reliabilism, having a reliable process of our belief formation, or virtue reliabilism. So Klein maintains that being able to produce reasons for a belief is the distinctive characteristic of adult human knowledge. So some people hold that we don't have to have reasons. So the objections to Pa are that. So that's his argument against it. Is it adult human knowledge? He kind of says that a lot, that the characteristic of adult human knowledge is involved in reasons. And then he talks about the Keith Lehrer's true temp case. The example I want to use is by Lawrence Bonger, which of his clairvoyance. Bonger actually argues against the externalist reliabilists and talks about various clairvoyant cases to where basically what happens is that let's say the clairvoyant is watching TV and sees empirical observational data that the president is in New York, but they have a clairvoyant revelation that the president is actually in Washington, D.C. So they basically have, there's issues as to whether the clairvoyant power, as to whether they know it, as to whether that's reliable. But I think either way that the clairvoyant power is not reliable, and if you kind of, even if you were right about it, the process being reliable can't really lead to knowledge. That's the position that I maintain, and that knowledge and justification is about having cognitive access or having a current mental factors that justify your beliefs or thus reasons. The second one is about meta-justification. Justification designed to show that certain types of beliefs are acceptable even in the absence of another belief that serves a reason. So let's say we have a property P, which we have a certain, similar to a basic belief, but we have a certain belief that has a certain property P that is sort of conducive to truth, and has a certain property that makes it not needing a reason. So, but then why is that? Klein is saying that why is any property that makes a certain belief separate from the rest? How is that truth conducive? He talks about the Peronian problematic and such. Now, I think you should read this. I think this is very interesting. I'm sure that you can find it if you have access to JSTOR. I think this is a good one. If you are in school, in some sort of college, you should have access to this. Or if you take a epistemology class, you might look over this, depending on how far ahead that your teacher would be going in the history of analytic epistemology. So the third objection is about harmless arbitrariness, which is by a philosopher called Stephen Luper-Foy, which he says, Luper-Foy says, the epistemic goal is to acquire a complete and inaccurate picture of the world. Granted that base our reasons are arbitrary, but an injunction against believing anything would obviously make it impossible for us to achieve the goal of arriving at a complete and accurate understanding of what is the case. Indeed, given that our ultimate beliefs are arbitrary, it is rational to adopt management principles that allow us to attain these foundational yet arbitrary views, since the alternative is to simply give up on the attempt to achieve this epistemic goal. So what he's saying, what Luper-Foy, I'll write that here, Luper-Foy, what he's saying is that the whole epistemic goal is to get after a accurate, precise picture of the world, to gain knowledge, and he sees no other way to get there other than having foundational basic beliefs that are arbitrary. So he's basically saying that we can have this arbitrariness because there really isn't any other way. And Klein says, if my basic beliefs are arbitrary, if there's no available reason for thinking that that accepting them is more likely to contribute to obtaining an accurate picture than an inaccurate picture, then for all I know, accepting the basic beliefs could equally well lead to obtaining a complete and inaccurate picture of the world. So, having an arbitrary belief doesn't mean that we're going to get there to a certain accurate picture. So, it could mean many things, and if we don't have a reason for accepting a certain basic belief, then how do we know that we're getting towards that accurate picture? Now, I totally agree with Klein. Personally, I'm still kind of a foundationalist via the philosophy of Mark Schlicken, Karl Popper, and Lakatos. But I think this would be the other thing. I mean, Schlick in his article, the Foundation of Knowledge, gives a foundationalist but not infallibilist foundationalist way of getting towards scientific knowledge, where we use our observational data to make predictions and to confirm things. But I would personally go towards the Popper's falsifiability way. But that's just my opinion. Fourthly and lastly, he gives many objections to infinitism. I don't feel a need to go over all of them here because all of them are would take me a while to go through all of them. So I think this is the very important one, because this is the finite mind objection, which means that how can infinitism be correct when we have only a finite mind? How can we possess in our mind an infinite amount of reasons? And that isn't what that isn't what infinitism is saying. What infinitism is giving or arguing is that we have availability to such reasons, and we can obtain it whenever we want to, and there is an infinite regressive reasons, but it doesn't mean that we have to have consciousness of them all the time. So this all works. But there are other objections, so I highly recommend that you read them. Read those to kind of, I think you have the reductio ad absurdum argument, the Aristotelian objection about inferential knowledge, and the specter of skepticism and stuff like that, which need to be looked at, but I don't feel like I need to go through all that, which would take a while in this thing. So, if you have a question, or you think that I've left something out, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you just have a question or you want to talk about this stuff, also comment below. Thank you.